Okay, so right after we get everything set up that we need to start making gear, we're going to go ahead and get right into Blender. This is just the way that I do it. It makes everything a lot easier and look a lot cleaner. What we're going to do in Blender is we're going to take the writer model that we're using and we're going to make a texture painting blend out of it. That way we can paint on the seams and the stitching. And then after that, we will take those over to Photoshop and then we will be able to go through and kind of trace over them to get straight lines on the model when you put them into game. So what we're going to want to start off doing is go to File, go to Open, and you're going to want to open up the JRE V2 Game Blend. And once we open that, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this neck brace by left-clicking and then right-clicking, pressing Delete. And now from here, we're going to want to change this 3D viewport. We're going to want to turn this to Image Editor. This is just the way that I like to do it. We're going to turn the left side into Image Editor. We're going to make that a little smaller. And then over here, we're going to want to go to 3D viewport. And what we're going to want to do is left click on the model, press Tab. That will bring up all of your I'll bring up all your faces and stuff like that. And down here at edit mode, you're going to want to click texture paint. That'll bring whatever the blank texture onto the model. And now what you want to do is we're going to be linking these two together. So from here, we're going to change the scene collection over to shader editor. And right after that, we're going to change, we should be able to keep that at object. We're going to press use nodes. This will bring up this over here. And now what we're going to want to do is click add, go to texture, image texture. This will bring up this node. And then from here, what you're going to want to do is connect the base color to your color. And then now go ahead and open up your gear start file or whatever you want to call it. So you're going to go ahead and open that up. It'll make it kind of dark. So what I like to do is put it on either like non-color. It'll make it a little lighter, a little bit easier to see. But yeah, there's certain ones are lighter than others, but some of them are also kind of weird. So now that we have this, what we're going to want to go ahead and do is go over to the left side, over to our image editor. We're going to want to click open and do the exact same thing. Go ahead and open up your gear start kit. And once we have that open, basically what it'll do now is if you don't have your tool settings down here, right click and press show tool settings. It'll bring them up to the top. And so what you're going to want to do is put strength all the way up. Go ahead and change your brush color to black or white, whichever you like using them, whichever like you prefer. And now we're going to go ahead and do radius of probably about 7, somewhere around in there. Or not 7, sorry. That's my fault. We're going to go maybe like 4. So some smaller number. That way you can still like get an idea of. I think I usually end up using about 2. 2 usually seems to always be about perfect for what I use. So now we're going to go ahead and slide over here, and there's this little like mirror image right here, and you just want to click X to turn that off. And now at this point, we basically have everything set up to texture paint when we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and just make kind of like a little rough outline of like what I want to put on the gear necessarily. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quick. Okay, so now we have kind of like a basic little kind of rough outline drawn onto here. It doesn't have to be perfect. As you can tell, mine is far from perfect. So what we're going to want to do now is, usually the way that I do this is we're going to go ahead and we're going to want to go down here, go to image, go to save as, and I would prefer saving it as a PNG. So go ahead and just save this anywhere in here. So once that's saved, we're gonna go over here, gonna go to open. Let me go down to gear files and find where I put that at. PNG file right here. So now that we have this set up in here like that, this comes to the part where we actually start doing stuff in Photoshop. So first things first, we mainly use the pen tool when making gear, like making stitching, getting all that figured out so we get smooth lines. But the thing to do when you're making your seams is you want to go to brush, go all the way and find hard round. And what I do is I change the size of the brush to 2 pixels and make the brush completely black. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this over to my PSD. So this is just kind of like on top. I'll put this down in the diffuse. So then it is just right somewhere in my norm folder. Maybe not. Where did it go? I just, oh, never mind. It's right there. Okay, yeah, I got a little lost right there. So let's toss this in my diffuse. Nope, don't want to do that. We're going to put this just above designs. And now what we're going to want to do is, I'll put this in Jersey actually. What I like to do is I like to come in here. I like to make a new folder. And you'll see just why here in a second. So make a new layer. I like to name this either seam or stitch. I usually just end up naming it stitch. And so you got the new layer in there. Now what you want to do is take the pen tool and you just kind of take your rough outline and you just kind of follow along with the pen tool. See, this is the part where you want it to be a little bit more perfect than what you did in Blender. So now that we have it like this, I'm gonna go ahead and make another folder down here below stitch. I'm gonna name this layer. I'm gonna make a new layer in there too. So I'm gonna go back to my stitching layer. I'm gonna right click on the path that I made with the pen tool. I'm gonna click stroke path, and where it says pencil, you wanna click pencil and go to brush, and then click OK. And what you do what it does when you do this is basically it will take it'll take the brush tool and like whatever thickness you have it as, whatever settings you have for the brush tool, and it will just put it over this path. So if I go ahead and turn this off and delete this path just for a second, you have this nice little line that shows up. So I'm going to bring the path back. I'm going to go down to layer. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm still connected with this. I'm going to go ahead and just make a shape around it. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and make selection. And then click on whatever tool I want to, usually probably the Marquee tool. You're going to right click, click fill, color, and I usually make it white. So we'll go ahead and click OK on that. And now this is our layer. That's one of our layers. So this is what we'll use to go ahead and like go on and like you put drop shadows on, stuff like that whenever it comes down to texturing. This is how we'll do all of our shapes that are different colors where the stitches separate them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of the jersey just to show you guys. So this one's a little messed up. I painted it a little weird, but you can make it work. Oh, oops. Let me go back a little bit. Okay. So now, always make sure to make new layers, because it sucks when you get so far and then realize that you haven't been making different layers, and then everything becomes just a unorganized mess. So go ahead and go down to your layers, go to make selection, go back into here, just do the same thing again. Just keep doing that for every line that you make. So now we have about here. I'm gonna clean up this neck because this neck is not looking too good. So I'm going to kind of go for the shape that I was going for. It's not going to be perfect. I'm just kind of throwing this together. Let's go ahead and kind of make a little shape out of it. What I like to do here is with the new stitch, go ahead and stroke it. And I usually like to, if it's flat like this, if I have it like where I hold shift and it gets flat like that, I bring it out a little farther. Hope I didn't want to do that. Hold on. Bring it out just a tiny bit. That way I won't screw anything up. But then now we're going to bring it down and connect it. Now that it's connected, new layer, go back through, make selection. Just keep repeating the process until you have all of your lines traced out. And I have just this one more to do to kind of get this all rolling. Kind of go for the same shape that I was going for in the first place here. It's going to be a little off, but it'll work. Kind of go for the same shape again. Don't want to throw anything off too much. So now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this layer under all of them. That way we don't get anything overlapping. And back to the same process again. And this time we're going to make a shape all the way around the arm. And then go back over here, make a layer, put this on the bottom, and make selection. Go ahead to the Marquee tool, click fill. And now we have that. Although this doesn't seem to want to work. Okay, I see what to do. Okay, so we're gonna take the neck. I'm just gonna right click it, and then I'm going to select this stitch area where it's overlaid. I'm just gonna click delete, and that'll get rid of that. I might have to do that for the rest of these too, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, so it's kind of a pain sometimes if you don't get it completely perfect the first time, but let me go ahead and get this done quick. Okay, we get that one gone. Now we'll come up here to this one. Get that one gone. Okay, now we have a clean little layer thing going on here. So now, what I like to do is I like to select all of these layers and just press Control J. You'll have to sort them out after, but usually it's take the bottom 4 that are highlighted, or however many there are, you drag it over, and then you go to the top 4, highlight all the copies, and then press Control T. That'll bring up your transform. Go ahead and flip horizontal and drag all of this over to the other side to mirror it. Make sure you get it about to where it would be perfectly lined up on the other side. So now we got this one all figured out. So now that we've got kind of the base of everything here, we can maybe start looking into texturing here in a minute. So we're going to go down to layer. I'm going to put one on the bottom. And from here, I'm just going to go ahead and use the lasso tool. Just go all the way around, make a shape around all the gray space. And once I have this, I'm going to go ahead and click fill. Okay. And then now we have all of our layers here now. All of our layers and our stitches, or our seams, whatever you prefer to call it. So this is basically pretty much close to, we're about halfway done to having a full base of a jersey. So at this point, I'm going to want to go ahead and wait, hold on. So we're gonna want to go ahead and take both of these layers, duplicate these over to a new PSD. Once we have them like this, I'm going to go ahead and open up both these. And then now, this is where it gets a little confusing. I'm going to go ahead, go through here, go into patterns, find like whichever shape you want. I'll go ahead and put a pattern on like the underarms. So I'm going to go ahead and merge all of the, where is the other, right there, layer 5. I'm going to go ahead and merge these. And I'm going to go ahead and put a pattern on these to kind of give them a texture. I'm going to go with, I'll probably just go with dots, something like that. Something that looks kind of like a mesh. Make it smaller, like that. And then, I don't know, I guess I'll go into here, get a pattern again. Maybe put like, I don't know, like, I'll put lines. So, yeah, I'll put lines on there, just kind of stretchy material. You can make them small. It'll show up fine in game and on the model. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this layer style, paste this over to the other side. And then for the main part of the jersey, I'm going to go ahead and do lines that are like opposite of that. I'm going to go ahead and do those ones. Just kind of give it a little bit of texture when you make the norm out of it. So now that we're at this point, I'm going to say, like, let's say that, I don't know, like this, the front part of the jersey and the back part and like all the arms, like the main part of the jersey is all like higher out than like the mesh. Like it kind of, once I'll do this, it'll make more sense. So if I go through here, and I'm going to go ahead and drag these both up here and merge these. This is the neck. Go ahead and merge those. So this is on top. So what I can do here, instead of doing like an outer glow, I can do like an inner glow. I can make it black, change it to normal. Go ahead and like throw the opacity up, maybe bring the size up a little bit, bring the range up a little higher. That way it looks like the mesh is sitting farther in than the main like fabric of the jersey. And at this point, what we can do here is if you press Control Alt Shift E, it'll merge everything that is visible at the time. So right here, this is like fully textured jersey. This is fully textured and like all the seams and stuff. So now, okay, so it has come to my attention that while editing this video, I made a little mistake in what I was supposed to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete both these. Do it like this. Go to filter. Just do the same thing again. But this time, I'm going to go into my channels. And you know, this one, yeah, that one's fine. This one's fine. I can leave this one like this. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one. Channels, red, green, invert. Did that do it? Hold on. There we go. Now it inverted. Okay. So now what we're going to want to do is go ahead and do the good old Control Shift U. I'll bring it up like that. And we'll take these, duplicate these over to the PSD, and then I will continue on where the video left off. Once we're back on the PSD, we're going to go ahead and separate the norm into the norm folder. Now you just want to pop this into jersey, and if you notice it cuts off, like it just looks funny. It looks funny in here. So you want to go up to like the layer styles kind of, and you're going to want to change it to overlay. That way you can get all the like the wrinkles in, stuff like that. So now you can go ahead and close your norm folder. We're going to drag our shading shading file up to the shading, drop this into Jersey, go into here, and instead of overlay, we're going to go down to multiply. And once you're on multiply, we're going to, oh, I did that wrong. Hold on. I accidentally changed that. Okay. So we want this to be on multiply. It'll make it kind of like dark, kind of not. So now you're going to want to press Control L while having your shading layer selected. It'll bring this open. This is your levels, and the way that I like to do this is this one variable. I like to change this to 0.8, and then this, the 255 variable, to 200. Gives it a nice contrast where you can still see all like you can see all your lines, stuff like that. So if we keep shading on, we can go ahead and turn off stitch and layer, and there you go. Let me turn off this too. There we go. You can see that that's how you make shading. That's how you make your norms and your shading. And now you basically have a base for your gear. In the next part, I'll go over kind of designs and maybe look into pants a little bit, because the pants can be frustrating at times. So yeah, that's it for part 2.